everybody, welcome back to this YouTube channel. My name is Julia, and in today's clip I'm actually quite excited because I don't know if you've seen, but I actually uploaded recently a video when it comes to beautybay's new palettes, the new shimmer formula. I'm obsessed, and I promised myself in that video that I'm not gonna splurge unless it's a new launch. And guess what happened? Obviously they came back with a new launch with love story kind of theme. It's very romantic because it's the Love Notes Beauty Bay 20 color palette. It literally looks like the one I tested myself, Age of Opulence, when it comes to how it's like laid down, but I can open it and show it to you rather than rambling. So without further ado, let me just open this bad boy because I'm really excited for the shimmers. Because I feel now in this day and age, what can you do wrong with the mattes? I feel the shimmers are the next moment, at least for me. So this is how the palette looks like. This is gorgeous, I feel. Beauty Bay is literally slaying the game lately with their palettes. I think they did definitely up their standards, and they look like does this palette look like a 15-pound palette? Because I don't think it does. It's really gorgeous. I think it's really well thought in terms of like design. I do appreciate the design when it's not on the cardboard but on the actual palette. So let's open this guy up. So this is how the palette looks like. It has some really beautiful like pinks, purples, and some browns. I think obviously you can get this one and still go basic with like your browns, but at the same time have these romantic shades. Like I said, I personally got this one for the shimmers. I really liked the shimmer in the Age of Opulence, and I just want to see if it's similar, if it's identical. I'm pretty sure it seems quite identical, but I'm still really curious how they're gonna show up and apply on the lid, because that's what I was really surprised with Age of Opulence. I feel, and I've used that palette. Listen, hear me out. When I filmed and I uploaded the review, it was after I went home for Christmas, and I actually had only that palette with me for around 3 weeks. I swear to God, I did not need anything in my life. The shimmers were dope. The the mattes were amazing, blendable, nice to work with. And yeah, that's why I splurged again on this guy. Although it's limited edition, that's the most frustrating part. Why are these limited edition? If this goes out, I will not be able to reference it. And if I'm gonna have this dope shimmer, people are gonna be like, what's that? And I'm like, well, I can't say, because I mean, even if I do say, it was limited edition. That's the only downside to these palettes, but yeah. So let's test it out without rambling anymore, because I'm very curious how they're gonna look like and how romantic I can get with it. So I did zoom you in so we can see what the hell am I doing with it. Like, I am just So first things first, obviously I'm gonna prime with my pillowy base, because that's what I did and I always do. If you've been following me, you already know I always I was about to say upload, and also upload weekly, but I also do prime my eyes first. Right, so I got the shade Cotton and I am setting my primer, and this is a bit like dusty, but nevertheless it's pigmented. It's kind of like my skin tone kind of color, and it works for setting. I'm not quite sure if for anything else, but it's a nice shade. A classic, I guess. Oh my god, like the pigment is like superb, and I think also the way like it was the pigment when I picked it up, but also when I put it on my lid. This is gorgeous, and it blended really nice. Obviously I did not blend it in with another shade, but I'm super surprised how well it keeps the shade onto the lid. Because it's like a pastel lavender, and it's gorgeous. Like I am a sucker for like lavender, purpley, very light pastel-y shades, and seriously this serves me some really good though ass pastel shade. This is gorgeous. Like, this is actually gorgeous. What the hell? Sick. So now I'm gonna go with handkerchief. Because it's a really nice pink, and I decided to kind of like not go only with purples. I want to have a combination with as many shades as possible. So yeah, this is another pastel shade, a very pink bubblegum kind of pastel pink shade. It's gorgeous. I think it really reflects light because it's like that pastel, a kind of a shade. I said pastel so many times, but seriously, it's gorgeous. And it blended really nice with the other shade. That's actually really nice. So now I'm gonna go with the shade Cheeks. I just want to add a bit more depth at the end of the eye. And actually that does wonders. The shade Cheek is so cute. Now, jumping into the shade Lilac, I'm just gonna put it right at the inner corner of my eye. Again, very pigmented, really nice, and definitely a different undertone than the shade Lavender, which obviously that's a huge bonus. But once again, it's like a pastel shade, and I'm sorry if you can hear my door, but it's super windy outside and I have a window open and it's kind of like, and I can't do anything about it, unfortunately, but yeah. So these are the mattes that I so far used. They are really nice. They could work a bit more blending, but I rushed it. But still, they blend amazingly easy. Like, they are so nice. They're definitely more on the pastel side, and I'm not mad about it. Like, Actually, I don't know what I was expecting, because it's definitely more on the pastel side. Like, you can tell when you're looking at it. But I'm gonna be honest, I was more excited about the shimmers. Therefore, let's jump into the shimmers. That's my, is it worth it or not? Because mattes, they are beautiful though. And also pastels are hard to create apparently. And yeah, these are some really nice pastels. So I decided to go with the shade Princess because this was the first shade that actually spoke to me when I've seen the palette. This definitely seems more like of a topper. It's very reflective though. But let me just grab it with my finger and see. Okay. We can see it here on the finger how it looks like. Ooh. For some reason, I think I picked a wrong brush. Oh my god. No, this is definitely not a topper. I think I got the wrong brush. Gorgeous. Literally gorgeous. Do you see how it picks the light? Like, gorgeous. I think a flat brush would work much better. So let's get into shade Bellini, which is this one. Oh, this is definitely much chunkier. They still don't pick up that great. Oh, here we go. This definitely comes in chunks. I mean, I still went with Age of Opulence with my finger, but I still feel like this one doesn't want to necessarily pick up as well with a brush, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it is something to keep in mind. But yeah, that's a nice shade, Bellini. It's definitely on the rose gold side. Just gonna go again with a bit of a princess there. I can't complain about the shimmer. It's just I feel they're a bit trickier to pick up with a brush this time. Right, so now I'm gonna go with this one, which is a bit darker. And I'm still gonna try to pick it up with a brush, but I genuinely feel this time the formula seems to not pick up well. And this one, for example, is really, really chunky. I don't know if you can see it, but while I was doing this, chunks came out, which is not a bad thing, but I feel it's much better to apply with your finger. I used to say I hate to apply anything with my finger, but when it comes to recent times, in order to achieve a really blinding shimmer onto my eyelid, I ditched that most of the times. Not every single time, but I'm trying to ditch it because it kind of makes a difference. However, when it comes to the Age of Opulence, I felt you could still achieve the shimmeriness without using it with your finger. And this time it seems like that. Let's try it one more time. Now let's take this itty bitty tiny brush, and I'm gonna shade my eye with the shade Confetti. I mean, this pick up, but I feel it's not as blending as I wished it would, so doing it with the finger. Yeah, definitely. No, with the finger. This palette doesn't want to work. I feel they are way too pressed down, or maybe way too creamy. I felt with the Age of Opulence, maybe it's also the colors. It could be also that, because I feel with Age of Opulence we had more like turquoisey, a very pigmented, strong shimmers, while with this one obviously it's more of a romantic vibe. It's more chilled down in terms of like the undertone, not necessarily like the shimmer, and maybe that's why I kind of feel it doesn't show up, because obviously it's a more dull kind of palette in terms of shading. So yeah, but nevertheless I think the shimmers are still good. I feel they're so nice and so buttery, and for the price you pay for this palette, I'm not gonna be mad about like applying them with my finger. I'm not. Like I said, I started to ditch that idea, but the shimmers are still nice. They're still nice. I feel between this one and the Age of Opulence might be still my favorite. However, I'm definitely gonna reach this one for the shimmers. Right, so lastly, I'm gonna use shade Ruby underneath my eye area. Oh, this is pigmented. Like, look at that. Right, so I decided to do a winged line. I am gonna still finesse it a bit because I feel it's a bit too long, but I'm gonna do that off camera by the time I'm putting some mascara, and I don't know if anything else. I will figure it out, but be right back in a second. Right, so I'm back with my mascara, and I decided to make like a wing line, and it kind of looks nice, if I do say so myself. I think it's a nice shade. It could work a bit more blending actually if I'm looking into detail. This is the first time I'm trying to film while my boyfriend is like walking around. So for 3 years I've been filming without you watching me, and I think it's time I should move past that. I feel a bit weird. Anyway, so what I was saying, I used the shade Ruby. Are you playing now?
Yes.
Oh, then close the doors. If you were just sitting chill, that's fine, but close the doors. Right, so shade Ruby is really nice. This one was not necessarily that blended out, but this one was. So yeah, I think it's a really nice palette, but until the conclusion part, let's dive into the swatches, because I even forgot to mention that, I mean, if you're already subscribed, you know I do swatches for every single palette. I tend to be a bit upset for people not doing swatches, and since I started doing my own YouTube clips, I decided to provide that, since when I was not filming for YouTube, it would bother me when YouTubers slash influencers reviewing a palette would not be bothered about doing swatches. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion. At least for me, they were relevant, so that's why I prefer to do them. So without further ado, let's swatch every single shade and see how they look onto my arm. We have shade Corset, Cotton, Chandelier, Angel, and Cheeks. So second row we have Mahogany, Candlestick, Soap, Bellini, and Flush. On the third row we have Pillow, Lavender, Princess, Handkerchief, and Cupid. So the last row we have Lilac, Spark, Glove, Confetti, and Ruby. Right, so we finished with the swatches as well, and I must say the shimmers are still serving. I feel the only difference between this one and Age of Opulence is that the shimmers seem to be a bit more on the creamier side, and hence why you kind of need to apply them with your finger. Like I said, it used to be, what's the wording? Kind of like, I used to not enjoy that, but seriously, lately, since I've been kind of obsessed with shimmers, I started to move past that kind of like a turn off point of using the shimmers with my finger. This one, Bellini, I feel it was the most kind of like reflective out of them all. And when I swatched it, nothing was left on my finger. Like I literally went like whoop, and everything came off. So I think it's a different formula or different like pressed. I don't know, it was interesting to mention that. But yeah, I feel these ones need a bit more like work with your finger rather than a brush. So that's maybe a bit of a downside, but the rest, shimmers are blinding once again. They are definitely more a bit chilled down than the ones I have in Age of Opulence, but bear in mind, it's a different color story. I still feel they deserve the money. I think Beauty Bay is literally slaying the game when it comes to the shimmer formula. So they are definitely worth £15 for the shimmer formula. I do recommend it. And that's about it really. I hope by any means this video was useful and relevant and you find it helpful. If you did enjoy it, make sure you like it and subscribe. I upload every single week at least a video, if not more. And it's generally speaking beauty related. So yeah, without rambling anymore, I hope you might enjoy the next clip, or maybe even check the Age of Opulence and see how I felt about that one. Because even though it's like, you know, out of stock, like limited edition, it's gone. Maybe you want to see what I'm talking about in terms of like me comparing the shimmers from this guy with that one. I just felt it worked a bit better with a brush. That's my only downside, but still, it's beautiful. I still think it's worth £15. And oh yeah, last thing, if I were you, just to buy this for myself and that's it, not to film a clip or whatever, just wait for it to go on sale, because it most likely will go. And I love saving. I don't know about you, but I love saving. The only reason why I went ham into not waiting for a reduction is because I want to film this clip as soon as possible. So yeah, that's about it. I will hopefully see you, like I said, within the next one. Bye.